Alright, so you've read the title, so you know my question. Is Rainbow Six Siege killing itself? A big part of this video will be the comment section. I want you guys to share your thoughts about Rainbow Six Siege, the current state of it, the new operations, and I want you to just, I don't know, share your experience or opinion. And over the last 2 seasons, I've actually really enjoyed Rainbow Six Siege. Now, during the Outbreak update, I genuinely lost a lot of interest. The player base was pretty bad. Playing ranked was bad, playing casual was bad. I wasn't really a huge fan of the Outbreak mode, and I took a pretty long break from it. But with Operation Pizza Pie and Peekaboo, I'm actually really enjoying the game. I'm not great at it, but I keep wanting to play it anyway, and I want to get better at it, so that must mean something. If a video game constantly kicks your ass and you are coming back for more, that's probably a game you should pursue because it's challenging you in a way that's satisfying. But I'm worried that over time, Rainbow Six Siege will start to slowly cave in on itself. You see, I just don't see a positive side of adding in this many operators. Although I do see a downside in not adding as many operators as they're currently adding. The new operators keep the game fresh and interesting. With each new addition, the meta slightly changes or drastically changes and it keeps the game fresh. But what happens when the game stops feeling fresh and starts feeling overwhelming, messy, cumbersome, imbalanced, and even more alien to newer players? Currently, if you were to buy the regular edition of the game, you would have every starting operator, but there would be a large handful of operators you don't have, some of which are very important when it comes to doing different strategies. I would consider a team of default operators such as, I don't know, Capcan, Tachanka, Smoke, Mute, and Jaeger to be much easier to beat than a Frost, or a Legion, or a Mira, or a Clash, or an Albi, or a Maestro. So if you were to buy the game right now, you'd be getting an unoptimal experience by not having all of the operators. It would take an incredible amount of time for a new player to get to enough renown where they can buy even one of the DLC operators. And who says they're going to want to play a game where they're getting killed by a lot of operators they can't afford or don't want to buy? I have to admit that getting killed in Rainbow Six Siege when I first started playing by a bunch of operators I didn't have was pretty fucking annoying. And with every operator they add, they are doubling down on this issue. I think all the year 1 and 2 operators should be discounted, or I don't know, let new players pick 4 of the DLC operators to unlock for free or something, I'm not sure. But I feel like the game will kill itself under its own content. For me as a Rainbow Six Siege fan, for me as someone that wants to get better at it, for me as someone that's over level 100, I have no problem spending $30 a year on this game. But as the player base slowly dies off, and no matter how cool your game is, that will happen. People get bored, they do other things, they go to other games. I don't think this game is going to bring in new players, and I think it's going to be really daunting for a new player to buy it. This has been talked about by a lot of different YouTubers. But then for the hardcore players, what about all these new operators taking the balance out of the game entirely? Now, I'm sure some of you are going to disagree with me, but I personally think that IQ and Tachanka need some major reworks in order to be more viable and interesting. And I might not be saying that except for the fact that every time they add a new offensive or defensive operator, they just kick their ass into the ground even further. I won't say IQ and Tachanka are absolutely useless, but with every new operator, it's like, why would I play Tachanka when I could play Clash? Why would I play Tachanka when I could play as Maestro? Why play as IQ when I could play as Finka? Or Maverick for that matter. Although an IQ Maverick combo would be pretty good, especially with a Thatcher. But anyway, she takes a lot of coordination, and when you don't have it, she's kind of useless. Unless you're really good with her gun. I'm not going to get hung up on it. Look, Rainbow Six Siege is very, very likely to cave in under its own weight. Because this game is very simple in its, core concept. And so the more you add into it, there's only so much you can add. There's only so much you can add, and if you add too much stuff, the game will feel cumbersome and messy and overwhelming. How many different types of traps am I going to have to dodge and learn about? How many different ways am I going to be able to breach through a wall? How many different guns am I going to have to use? And how long is it until they add an operator that just makes the game feel unplayable? They already kind of did that with Finka and Lion, they already kind of did that a lot with Ella. They add an operator and it just rules the roost, and that sucks. And it sucks doubly for anybody that doesn't have those DLC operators. Ubisoft has a very simple philosophy when it comes to this game. It feels like, at least to me, their philosophy is add more shit. More cosmetics, more camos, more outfits, more operators, more maps, more map reworks. And I think right now it's okay for long-term players. I think it's pretty bad for new players, and I think it'll only get worse. If you like the idea of there being like 70 operators in Rainbow Six Siege, that's fine, I guess. To me that sounds like a balancing nightmare. For me that sounds like option paralysis, and for me that sounds like noob repellent. All things that I think could genuinely kill this game. Rainbow Six Siege is incredibly fun, and its simple base and complex meta is what makes it so enjoyable to play. I love the challenge of it, I love not being great at it, and I love the community, not the player base, but the community. But no matter how cool something is or how much I love it, it doesn't matter. It will end up dying eventually. I think Ubisoft needs to make this game more accessible to new people, and I think Ubisoft might need to rethink the continuously add shit philosophy. One thing they haven't done yet is a new game mode. I mean, you could count Outbreak as one, I guess, but it's not around anymore and they don't want to bring it back or something, whatever. New game modes would be great. Bomb, Hostage, and Secure Area are okay, but honestly, I wouldn't mind Rainbow Six Siege adopting a couple of new styles. What about a Respawn Team Deathmatch game mode? What about a Michael Myers game mode? There's also a good idea for Rainbow Six Siege, in my opinion, is a secure area game mode where every secure area room is active and the attackers need to secure at least 3 of them. This would be a fast-paced game mode that would change the way Rainbow Six Siege is played entirely. You don't just get to fortify 1 room or 2 rooms, you actually have to watch every objective. It'd be primarily owned by roamers, but roamers are easily picked off because they have less health, and it'd be an interesting way to play the game. I'm not saying it's a perfect idea, I'm just spitballing here. Because I know what you're thinking, they could add more maps, but the thing is Rainbow Six Siege maps are hard enough to memorize by themselves. Adding more of those is also noob repellent and becomes a little overwhelming. So new game modes would really shake things up. So when it comes down to it, a Michael Myers game mode, 75 kill Respawn TDM game mode, or a multi-room secure game mode I think would be really fun. This would add more variety to your gameplay sessions instead of just hostage, secure, bomb, 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 hostage, 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 secure, 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 bomb, bomb, bomb. It would shake up the game without creating an overwhelming mess, even though multi-room secure kind of sounds like an overwhelming mess, but either way. Hopefully you guys see where I'm coming from. This isn't a bashing Rainbow Six video, and maybe you like all the new content even as a new player that doesn't have all the DLC operators, and that's fine. And maybe you mostly main default operators anyway, and you have no trouble learning the maps, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like that out there. But if this game becomes a closed system that doesn't let any new players in easily, I think it'll go the way of League of Legends or Counter-Strike Go. Games you are hearing a lot less about today than you used to. I'm not saying they're irrelevant or dead or bad, I'm just saying they kind of became more of a closed system. Even League of Legends' new ad campaign is basically, this is gonna suck for you, you're a total noob, but don't worry, if you stick with it you'll get really good and then the game will be super fun. I don't think Siege should adopt that style. So that about wraps up everything I was thinking, so that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.